equestress, and today I have H. Lauren Gazi H, or Penny is her name. She is a 12-year-old horse who is, she's currently an endurance horse. She's getting ready for riding actual FEI. So she's riding 50-mile rides, gearing up to ride the 75s. She is 12 years old, and she was started under saddle about a year ago. Previous to that, she was a brood mare, and she was bred at a lovely barn, and then was sent to a couple different breeding barns where they fell under, and at some point she became emaciated, and she came into my care because no one could do anything with her or touch her, and she was having a severe reaction to her ears and her head. We've since worked very hard at gaining her trust and working on that, but she has some residual to whatever it was that happened to her. She's given several of us black eyes from the response, and so I'm keeping that in mind. But she's a really lovely girl, and we really like our Penny, our lucky Penny. So let's see what we have. Currently under saddle, the complaint is sometimes she'll take some really wonky steps in the hind end, and at the end of my last 50-mile ride, it felt like somebody was going up and goosing her butt, and she would take these steps up underneath. So we will see what we have.
Okay, evaluating her walk. What I'm noticing right away is that her back left hind is reaching under and is faced sort of more in. The right hind is kind of stretched more out, and her steps are not consistent. So let's see her coming back. And the steps, for lack of a better term, are kind of wonky, but to me it seems like the back left hip is kind of tilted in, and the right back hind is stretched. The shoulder movement looks nice and free, and her head and carriage is nice and straight. Watching her come back at the trot, I'm still seeing the same consistencies, and I really don't like how she doesn't have a whole lot of swing going on throughout her body. She seems a little stiff through her back and the hindquarters. Watching her walk away, she takes consistent steps, and then she takes some really wide steps, and then she takes narrow steps, and then wide steps like right there. Very interesting. So something's definitely going on in the hind end, probably sacral region. I like the nice swing that she has throughout her shoulders here, and I like that she's tracking straight. She's not really swaying left or right, but the hind end is kind of swinging left and right, but the front end's nice and straight. Watching at the trot. Going into the transition, she kind of fell out in the back left hind. And her trot steps seem pretty consistent, but I still see where the hips are kind of tilted. Left hind is striding shorter. And she is tracking straight here, but I see stiffness throughout her back and hindquarters. So, let's see what our palpitation tells us.
Hello again. So it's 88 degrees in Florida. So I'm keeping that in mind. I'm going to go ahead and start with my vital signs. I'm going to pull this halter up. You can see some of the response that she gives, she just is like, ah, what are you doing? So I'm going to keep one side clipped, but just to get her relaxed, what I like to do to get her in the groove is just go ahead and just start with some effleurage before I start anything, just so she knows what we're doing here. Baby's a good girl. Honey's a good girl. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to do my skin tinting. A for skin tinting, and then I'm going to go ahead and take her jugular pulse. We just packed all my stethoscopes. Find it. And it's going to be an opportunity just to sit here with her and just let her relax. So I'm going to use the timer on the screen here. So her pulse is actually 30, which is normal for her, a little bit low for the horses in general, before I clip that. But she is an athlete, of all athletes, so gums look good. And cap refill less than 2 seconds. Little safety piece. Girl. So what I'm going to do is do a little bit more effleurage right here. There you go. There, she calmed down a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and start with her legs, and actually, while she's standing quietly, I'm going to see if I can get her to square up for me. Did get a view of her hind end, and her hind end actually sits, let me fix this back leg. I'm questioning myself now that I said that, but she's taking kind of a long time. Come on, please. Thank you. She's not a horse, she can just pick up a leg and put it where you want it. So we'll take our time. So she seems have a little tiny bit of a dip going on the left hip, and but her shoulders are symmetrical. So her left hip is dipped a little bit down, her shoulders are nice and symmetrical, sternum is right in the center, head is center, whole. All this looks good. So the hind end is just a little bit dipped down to the left. These are nice and symmetrical. So I'm going to go ahead and check the range of motion. And for her, we can take our time a little bit because she's very sensitive. So I just kind of wait and wiggle around a little bit until I feel her loosen up. So a little bit of stiffness in the fetlock, but knee is good, elbow is good, shoulder is good. This side, same thing. I just take my time with her. Like I said, she's only been, ever since whatever happened to her, she sat with a same halter on for 3 years. And people couldn't touch her. They were scared to take it off because she's so flighty. This ankle is nice and loose. And the knee flexion is good. Elbow is good. Shoulder is good. So I'm going to walk her up here. She can be real goosey with the back legs. So I'm going to pull this back. She's already tensing up, so I'm just going to give her some pats. Loosen that barrage. Good girl. Fine. You just pause and wait for a minute. There she goes. She just booted, so she's relaxing. Good girl. So I'm flexing the ankle. Although it's stiff, it's moving quite well. You're fine. Get her to relax. She's stiff in the hip here a little bit. And that was not moving against me. That was just regular movement with it. This can be hard to do on a horse that you don't know. There you go, good girl. So I'm just doing some effleurage here. What's wild is for the farrier, you know, she's got shoes in the back. I just worked with her before, and she ends up being really good. So I'm going to check back here. Good girl. Good girl. So I'm going to pull my hand around and just kind of pause and wait for her. Good girl. This ankle's really nice and loose, but I feel some popping in this lower joint here. The fetlock joint. I'm going to massage right here just a little bit, just to let her relax for one. There we go. There we go. Good girl. So I'm going to check right the motion down here. I'm going to check her stifle. Fine. Fine. And her hips moving around nice and loose. Stifle's a little tight on this side. Really, just in general, it's kind of hard to tell because she's not always willing. Not always willing. So we're going to spice things down. I'm going to get the treats. Now it might awaken the whole barn. And I'm going to pick her front leg up and check this last cervical here. I'm just gonna have her reach around in general here. Ooh, we got a nice deep stretch. I did hear some cracking down here. Good girl. So now that I've got her thinking about moving and she's not working against me, I'm gonna use the top parts of my fingers here. And this is the hard part because she doesn't want you to touch her head. But I can distract her. Hey. I don't feel any restrictions here. I'm gonna pull this head around over here. Some distractions on at the house there. Oh, you dropped it. Try this one. Come over here. So now she's kind of tight on this side. So I'm just gonna pull her head here and just see. Give her a treat. Good girl. She is flexible and able to do the things, but she is tighter and a little more resistant to work with me. And there's some distraction in the house. So I'm going to use this halter to kind of pull her head around and help me feel these vertebrae. There you go. What I want to feel is this one where I heard the pop, and I think that's where we're tight. And the other thing I'm seeing is she's twitching her head like this, like sideways like this. That tells me there's some tightness in the occipital on the right side. Where are you going? So I'm just going to feed her these treats to get her thinking, oh, life is good. Life is good. You can touch my face. You can touch my face. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to rotate this halter a little. You can see when anything touches her head, she jerks it like this. And she has had some tightness previously. I've worked on her several times. And she's had lots of work done throughout rides. Her TMJ is always tight, but it's symmetrically tight. So I'm gonna just I'm gonna put my finger here. It's tight, but it's working good. They're symmetrically tight. I don't feel any popping or clicking in there. I'm just going to check her teeth. Her teeth are nice and in the center. Originally, when I started working with her, they were not. She did have TMJ to the right. All right, good girl. So, what I'm going to do, pet her here. Now she is resisting me, so I'm just going to hold for a second. And I'm going to check the symmetry here. There we go, nice and loose. Good. And previously she would be very tight. And I'm just going to go ahead and start palpating and checking my points, just kind of working with the head when I'm here. I feel some, oh yeah. She's gotten used to the massage. She really likes this, and actually some of what we do is how I was able to get to put halters on and things over her ears, but really we have a severe ear response. So we have a point here, and you can see I'm just kind of doing a little bit of light compression, kind of holding, and then not really compression, I'm just kind of holding the spot, and then I'm effleuraging it through. Getting her used to being near the face. But yeah, this horse. I wish I had, maybe I'll attach at the end a video of what she was like. So anytime that she's lets me get this close and in her space and is relaxed is really just really nice. Just really nice, you know. So I'm just gonna rub her little face here a little bit. Yeah, so she likes that. So I'm gonna work my hand up here, and she still has the stress point here above the ear at the splenius cervicus. And what I like is she used to have a ton. It'd be like this whole thing right here was a huge inflamed knot. So really the splenius cervicus, I can feel one stress point, but it does feel spongy, which is an improvement. I don't feel anything in here, no brachiocephalus or the thyroid. I'm going to go ahead and check her pectorals. And I don't feel, previously she had muscle tension here in the pecs, and I don't feel any fibers or striation. I feel a little bit of a stress point with the supraspinatus, and though she's looking at May, I know she's letting me. Yeah, it feels good. And it's relieving. That opened up that shoulder quite a bit. Yeah, she still has a stress point right here. No stress points in the trapezius and the fundament, the other muscle. Don't feel anything here. Go ahead and check her back. We have a small stress point right here at the top of the glitter. At the muscle right here. Just kind of working it and smoothing it out. She's reactive. I don't feel anything. She's just like, why are you touching me? I'm going to move the sleeve rope back, and I'm going to check the inside here. Previously, she had, and I do feel, yeah, and she's leaning into me. She likes this. I feel some stress and some fibrous tissues. I'm going to work those out a little bit. So she's being so nice, and she just did like a nice big breath where she breathed out. That's nice. Check the back of the bacillus. Generally, a lot of endurance horses get really tight back here. They'll be unilaterally tight on one side, especially if the riders don't pay, I don't want to say don't pay attention, but yeah, we have some tightness here in the gracilis. So I'm just going to, at the point of insertion of the muscle here on the right side, I'm going to hold pressure, and as I'm holding the pressure, the fascia is releasing. And she's dropping her head a little bit. And I felt it release quite a bit. Good girl. Just doing some effleurage back here. And then I'm going to hold that point again. This horse, as as long as she's trusting, I changed my method with her a little bit. You know, a lot of horses I'll do the effleurage and then check the points and then do a little bit more effleurage and get right into it. With her, because her attention span and willingness to work with you, it's easier and it seems to be more beneficial to work as you go, because when she feels that relief as you go, she loosens up faster. But it's interesting. There we go. So this point has been released and I don't feel that tension anymore. And she did lower her head and take some deep breaths there. No licks and chews because she's still leery of me being back here. So I'm going to just do some compression right here. Loosen this up and let her know, you know, it's okay to loosen up. Alright, so I'm going to go back to these abdominals. Now I can touch the ribs though, now that I've gotten her loosened up, but you can see the nose here is tightening up, so I'm being cognizant of that. She would, I'll tell you, this horse was on defense. She was on defense. I don't feel anything at the top of the external obliques. This back here feels pretty good. I'm going to count my ribs back. 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11. I do really appreciate your fitness level. There is a stress point here between that 10th and 11th rib. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold some light pressure. Generally with her, holding light pressure and doing that myofascial release, it works better with her than a lot of kneading or compression, because she doesn't like to be touched. So that just, it's still there, but it's released some. So now we're going to come down here where she gets kind of, what are you doing? Why are you touching my tummy? I don't feel anything at the beginning. I don't feel anything in the longissimus dorsi. This feels good. This is good. She's got a big old knot right here. A big old one. So I'm just going to kind of rub her here a little bit, let her know it's okay. So, last part right here, I do feel a little bit right here on this top of the neck, some stress points. There we go, good girl. So I'm just doing some light compression and pushing it through. And she's liking that. Okay, so for this side, what I'm feeling is right here, which correlates with some saddle fit problems, I do believe, which is unfortunate. We don't want that. She still has her original tension in the splenius cervicus up here. We have a spot here, we have some right here, we have an bacillus in the back. I didn't feel anything on the inside, which is new. And then I had a few points here on the long, she's so funny, on the dorsi here. Alright, so now I'm going to try and see if she'll let me check this occipital muscle. I'm just going to sneak my hand up here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to shake her head left and right and loosen her up. And I'm just going to put my hand up here and palpate. And be very careful, because if I squeeze that right side, she will smack me right into my head. So I have to put bilateral even pressure. There we go. And what it is this side, this splenius capitis is just, both sides have a stress point, but this splenius capitis on this side is so tight. It's definitely gotten looser as I've worked with her over time, but it is very, very tight. And another thing that I really like that she doesn't have as much anymore is right up here, these muscles on her forehead. Let's see if I can move this mane out of the way. These were so big And they've gone down. I mean, they're not sticking out at all. It's fantastic. All right, so I'm going to work on this side of the body, and I can see the splenius capitis. She doesn't want me to touch it. I can already see it. I can feel it. I feel a little bit of stress points here in the jaw. I did feel stress points in the jaw on that side, and that is from her constantly clenching and being on high alert. Don't feel anything to break this coralicus. Feel my hyoid. I'm going to check this front neck. I don't feel any. There's a little bit of muscle tension here at the bottom, but nothing at the top. So I'm going to go ahead and do some raking, which she's responsive with. What? Here, did I scare you? I'll move my knee rope to the side. There we go. Some light friction. Very, very light friction. There you go. There you go. Just desensitize her a little bit. I'm going to flip her hair to the other side. And what I can do. Good girl. And I feel bilateral tension right here in the neck, right here on both sides. It's in the same spots, which makes sense as to the guarding and the turning of the neck on both directions. But I'm very pleased because what I'm seeing here is improvement over body work, improvement over just her trusting us, and improvement over her training plan. And I really like that because this horse was just in such terrible shape. So in the middle of the supraspinatus, not at the typical point where you would see, in the middle of the supraspinatus, there's a stress point right here. And I'm going to feel the other side and see if it's in the same spot. And it's not. So this stress point is up here, and this stress point is over here, which might be where some of that wonkiness is coming from. All right, so you feel down her leg. And now that she's not so reactive, feel this leg. You see how she picks it up? It's hard to get a good read. I don't feel anything in there, though. That's really lovely. Now we're going to feel down the spine. And with her, because like I said, I wanted to do my final on her because she's probably the most difficult horse that I have. The most difficult horse that I've worked with in my years of training and rescue horses. This horse had the worst response I've ever seen. And she's just such a blessing to work with. It's really lovely. So I don't feel anything on this side. I did feel more tightness on the other side. So we have some more pulling on this side. So we're getting to the root of the problem here, which is good. And I'm going to bring my knee rope back. And she's dropped this hip for me. She really likes this side massage. And I do feel a stress point right here at the top where the longissimus dorsi and gluteus maximus come together. It's not a very big stress point, but she went ahead, dropped that hip, and she basically said, put it in my face and was like, look right here. And I do feel it. So what she wants is for me to rub it back and forth. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So she's inching her butt a little bit with me, which is nice. I like that she does that. You know, I like that she's trusting me and she's communicating with me, telling me, hey, I'm hurting here, will you please help me? Where this is a horse that said, I don't care if my leg's falling off, don't come here. So that's really nice. And I'm not going to do too much without my towel, but I'm going to go ahead and check the rest of this leg, which is lovely. She's going to let me check these carpals. This is lovely. This is good. This is nice. Okay, good girl. I did feel tension in the bottom of that leg, and we'll address that later. But she really wants me to work on that point. And I'm going to feel down here by the top of the tail head. Generally, I don't feel anything. I do feel a stress point on this side right here. she used to just be so tight you couldn't feel, you know, you just couldn't feel. Okay, I feel a stress point on this side. So, all right, my plan of attack here. She clearly wants me at that point. We're gonna save that for a little bit later, and I'm gonna go ahead and work with her face. I'm gonna work left to right and get this done. Because, so, she wants me to work there, and she loosens up for me to work there, but in order for me to really get in there, I need the rest of her body to be loose to let the hind end loose. So we're going to start with the front, since that is kind of our primary focus that she's pointing out to us. And you know what I'm going to do? Drink a little bit of water here. I'm just going to let her stand for just a second. I'm going to drink some water and kind of step away. She gets overwhelmed, so I'm going to give her some space here for a second while I grab my water. You want my water? It's a water cup. What do you think of that? I've had her genetics pulled, and some interesting thing about her is I thought for sure she would have the fearful and curiosity gene, but she doesn't. She has a double curiosity gene, which is interesting. So I really think that's interesting that she has the flight and curiosity gene. She has double curiosity gene. I thought for sure she would have flight because she has such a strong flight response. But it makes sense now because her response when she does get in a situation where she feels trapped or she doesn't feel safe or she doesn't know how to process what's happening, she explodes. Now you talk about a solid horse on the trail. She is solid. So I'm giving her treats because she's curious, she's interested, she wants to see what I'm doing. I want her to be trusting with me, I want her looking to me, and I want her happy and relaxed. And this is an invitation for me to get in this space, to be honest. So, the trick I learned with her is she likes peppermint, so I'm going to rub peppermint. Kind of like the scent. She likes the smell of these, so I'm rubbing them on the front of my shirt. So my shirt smells like it and it makes her happy. And where her nose will be. And I'm going to go ahead and give her some treats. So, I'm going to go ahead and get my hands here on the front and I'm going to just work these muscles in the front while she's chewing and just kind of get her to relax. There's no stress points here, but generally this will loosen up her face and get her thinking, oh yeah, this feels kind of nice. And then she'll let me open up and get to some of those points that do have tension. So with her, I've been trying to find the muscles that do feel good and bug in my eye. The muscles that do feel good so that she trusts, from the beginning instead of going straight for the gambit, straight to the stress points and working on them, because sometimes that can be a little, it hurts so good it feels good. So she's now licking and chewing. Her lips aren't so tight, and she's reluctantly licking and chewing, I'll say that. I guess so. I know she's uncomfortable with this. So I'm just gonna come, she likes, there's a spot on this left ear right here I found that she really loosened up to last time. And here it is. We got some licking and chewing. Good girl. And she's looking at the dog. What is Belly doing? What's she doing? She likes this point below the ear. And I will attach photos of when I first got her of her neck and the difference that bodywork has made. It is incredible. I don't know. I'm a nurse, and I just love it. I think that if more people got massages, people would be on less pain medication, and people would be happier. You know, same with our horses. We don't have the availability of all that medication that people get, so they're generally not on so much pain medication, but, well, generally they just kind of suffer, to be honest, but this is just really nice. It's such a humbling thing to be able just to massage a horse. I just really love it. So she kind of is trying to pull away from me, but I'm gonna hold my hand here and just let her know, like, it's okay to relax. It's okay to relax. So I'm doing some circles, and then I'm going to do some effleurage. But I had to do circles quite a bit, because if I go straight to the effleurage and she just pulls her head up and yanks away, and my goal here is to get her to relax and to be with me and to just trust. She and I have quite the journey ahead of us. Her sister has been on the U.S. team and is quite the FEI competitor, and I was looking for a horse. I was looking for a 2-year-old to 3-year-old to begin their process. I like my long-term endurance horses to be something I start with myself. I was looking for a decade horse, and I knew that this horse would have to be special. And you know, lots of people know I do the rescues, and I love working with them. Good girl. She's really relaxing, so I'm just feeling the stress points, and I'm doing, you know, some compression and then just light effleurage after. Generally, I'd probably be doing more C-strokes and effleurage on a different horse. Alright, so we've got to the point where I can inch this halter back. I don't think she's going to take my head off. What did I tell you? She's giving me 2 black eyes. There's no warning. It just goes wham. So I've got the halter down here, and I'm going to inch my hand up here. And I'm just going to go ahead and put some pressure before the splenius capitis here, and she's dropping her head. And I'm just going to let go, because I felt it release. She's got her ears forward. She's thinking about it. So I'm going to rock her head back and forth and get her to relax. There we go. And what I need is really for her to drop her head a little bit to relax this muscle for me to be able to get in there. So I'm just going to go left and right, and I'm going to pull her head left a little bit more and get her to drop. There we go. And get her to let me in. So now with my left thumb, I am doing circle strokes and then effleurage with my thumb. Left and right. There we go. I'm just going to hold. There we go. There we go. Okay, and instead of like a big giant ball, it was like a spongy ball. And now I feel the knot on the inside of the ball. But it's probably feeling its residual inflammation. Now I'm going to squat down and meet her at her level. And I'm explaining what I'm doing, but I talk to Penny a lot. It seems that when I talk to her, it calms her down. She likes to be part of the conversation. So throughout this whole thing, I'm sorry if you feel like I do talk. I mean, I generally like to talk through what I'm doing. It really helps. But Penny likes to be talked to, and I think that constant sound of my voice helps her. I don't know. She's interesting. She's an interesting girl. Oh, but anyway, so I was working on and I'm holding pressure and it's still releasing. It's still releasing, so I'm gonna do some light effleurage coming back. There we go, and I'm just gonna let her go. I'm just stepping away. Go back to the point. I'm going to loosen up her neck again. There we go. And this is so much easier. Now she's like, okay, you can get in there. So we're gonna loosen up her neck again. So anyway, I was looking for a decade horse. Knew the horse would have to be very special, you know. And I had 4 people say, this horse is crazy. They can't do anything with her, but if anybody can, you can. And I really was not looking for a severe rescue case like her. Oh my gosh, it was not. But I said, okay, send me pictures and videos of her moving around in the pasture. And then I got to doing the research on her, and I was like, holy muffins, like, this is the breeding I'm looking for. This is the type of horse I'm looking for. I did her conformation, and I was like, oh, she has the perfect conformation for, you know, that was the seal of the deal. And she's got the cutest star and snip, and she has 4 little white socks. I was sold. I was like, oh my gosh. So I actually traded a really nice APHA mare that I had for her. And that horse, I didn't want my APHA mare stuck in a stall in the show setting, because a lot of horse, you know, that happens a lot in that setting. There we go. So I felt a lot of release just then in the muscles. So I'm just going to back away for a few seconds. And that horse is doing great in the lesson barn, and kids are riding her, and I'm just having the time of my life with Penny. I'm loving her. She's teaching me so much. So I'm going to work on her jaw here a little bit. I'm going to do some C strokes. And effleurage. C, effleurage, C, effleurage. So stiff, and then that's when she gets the panic. Oh, good girl. I'm going to loosen up her neck here. Good girl. And now what I'm going to look for is just like a generalized stretch down. Let's see if I can get her to go all the way down. Here you go. Good girl. So I'm going to use a treat for this. Usually doesn't work though. Get my hand up here and she's like, forget your treat. There we go. Or no, like, this is where I want you. Ah, there, that's right where I want the head. So I can get in here. Oh, I got it. Okay, I got my left hand on it. I'm going to try and hold her head here. I need need the nose to tilt out just a little bit. There. Good girl. Oh, I can get it now. All right, so I'm going to hold this point. Oh, yeah, does that feel good? Yeah, I'm trying to get there. There we go. There's the lick and the chew. There we go. Now the nose is tipping out. The nose is tipping out like this. The joint is opening up and I can get in there. Yes, good girl. Good girl. So I'm just holding pressure, and as I'm holding it at the top of the point, I'm not really holding a lot of pressure, but it's releasing. There, she just took a nice deep breath. And now she is tilting her head this way, but instead of just tipping the nose like this, it's out and turning, so she's stretching with it. Lovely. And then I'm going to effleurage it back. She doesn't like that. Okay, good. So I'm going to step away for another second. There we go. There we go. Oh, yeah. Good girl. That's what I was looking for. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And visibly, I don't see a large knot there anymore, so that's lovely. Now she's looking to me and she's saying thank you. Thank you very much. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and work on the other side of her head. While we're here, she don't like it, she don't like it. So I'm gonna get in below her ear. She likes this point here. And I'm gonna, same thing, loosen this head up, pull it left and right. Get my hand up here, my thumb on the point. Pull it left and right. There. From here, and hope I can get her to stretch down again, left and right. She wants to do it, but she doesn't. So I like the way she's turning her head now. This side's loose, loosened up. Pull her forward a little bit. I'm just going to do some C-strokes and some effleurage on this jaw. Oh, yeah, that's a point right there. You just feel it right in here. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. My goodness. Why was it so tight? Oh, he was just clenching so hard. Oh, my goodness. He was clenching. Why was he clenching so hard? Oh, the eyes are just blinking and blinking and blinking. Oh, they're blinking so good. Blinking so good. So just doing some C-strokes and some effleurage. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Let's get right here. Alright, now we're going to kind of inch our way up here. And she's tilting her head out for me. What I'm actually going to try and do is hold her head up and get to this point. Nope. She ain't going to do it. 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 We've got this point here. The point on this ear that I know, there it is. I know it hurts. Too much? Right here. I was just trying to put my hand on it. She's got her head turned and she's like, don't touch anywhere but right here. There you go. Oh, her eye just looks so worried. She has a worried eye. There we go. Oh, okay. Right here. She let me touch the top of the exhibit. Alright, okay, calm down. Calm down, sister. Alright. We'll leave her alone for a second. Let her download. She's testing it out. stress on the other side. The stress point on the left side was larger than the right side. Sometimes you have to pick and choose your battles. So the fact that I got the left side to release, the right side will probably release a little bit more since she's not tilting her head so much. And I'm just not gonna, I don't wanna say fight with her. I'm not going to stress about it today. The fact that she's willing to put her head down and she's doing a nice stretch right here. She's got her neck down, the nose is out, and she's really stretching that joint. She's licking and she's chewing now. And I'm gonna end with her face here. You know, I'm gonna listen to her. I could sit there and just try and let me in, but it's not gonna help. So we're gonna move down the neck. I'm gonna do some effleurage here, and I'm just gonna do some muscle squeezing and wringing in her neck. Though she gets pretty tight the farther I move up the neck, and like I said, what I'm trying to do is reinstill that looseness. So I may not do the entire neck. I may just do sections. She's licking and chewing here. She's kind of getting into it. So now these don't feel prominent, so I'm just going to do some compression. This all loosen up. I don't feel anything here anymore, so that's nice. So I'm just going to do some effleurage, and then I'm going to get into some compression strokes right here at the shoulder. Maybe I need to loosen up my pressure here. There we go. I'm just going to hold. There we go. And now I'm going to do some friction. Feel that break up pretty nicely and rapidly. That's kind of nice. Now I feel fibers instead of like a giant knot. I'm just going to keep doing some friction. She is working with me. She's putting her head in a position, her neck in a position to where it opens up. There we go. Good. Smaller in size. I'm just going to hold my hand here and then I'm going to let go. And I'm going to effleurage. I'm just going to do some more effleurage. And I'm going to work on this longismus dorsum. And I'm going to employ my microfiber towel so that I don't get that friction and heat against her skin. There we go. Oh, good girl. I'm going to get to that point again. Oh, yeah. She's loosening it up. She's stretching it out. Actually, I'm seeing this hip really loosen up here. Point, we're just going to hold. She's giving it a nice stretch. And we're going to go through the muscle. Get there again. Hold. Oh, good girl. So now she's put full pressure on this hip. I think it's interesting how she has her feet right now. And now she's got this leg dropped. And it's almost like she's helping me, you know. Good. You got a nice shake. So we're going to continue to go down this longismus here. And get to that stress point I was feeling. There we go. So now she's going to tilt the other hip. Interesting. There it is. Alright, so we get it right here. just gonna hold. Go through the muscle. Now I'm just gonna do some effleurage. Feel those stress points here anymore. I'm just going to kind of effleurage and do light compression throughout here. And give you obliques. I'm going to open my fingers and just kind of run with them. Once I figure out where she wants me. There we go. So I'm doing muscle lifting here and shaking. Got that nice like jello. And what I like is as this is happening, it looks like the muscle is forming. It's getting a little more formed, a little more loose, especially in the hind end. I love that she works with me. So I'm going to use my weight, do a little bit of muscle lifting, and some shaking. She's like pushing on me. I'm going to go back to that point, lift, I'm just going to hold there. And she relaxes. And back to compression. All right. I love how her shoulders nice and loose, but I'm going to go back. I always do compression here. Really work these a lot. I'm just going to go back and do a little bit of compression here in the chest. And I'm resting my hand, but I'm making sure I'm not pulling on her. A little bit of compression. There we go. Nice and loose. So now that she's nice and loose with this, work on this knee. So I always just like to do this with horses. Horses will just bring down the leg. It's really good girl. Get in here in this knee and just massage this knee joint. Showing. See. Not always willing to work with me. Feel a little bit of Rice Krispies in there, but not a lot. Just gonna work it out. There we go. Just gonna go down. Yeah. I said this horse. This is not get in, get it release. This is get in, get her relaxed. Multiple sessions over time to get the muscles released to where they need to be, because she just generally has so much tightness. I'm going to hit this point one more time on this side. I'm liking the results here. point's not hard, it's nice and spongy here. I'm not going to stick my hand up here, but I can see the actual stress point has relieved. I like the stress in the back. I actually like the curvature coming from here down on her hind end. And I'm happy with what we've done on this side, so we're going to switch sides here. Looks looking a lot better. It's looking better. Looking better. We're going on this side. PP. All right. Try to keep the window here. Just gonna scoot my back. And some efferage. And when I was doing that muscle squeezing and bringing on the other side of her neck to actually relieve these stress points, I'm just going to run my hand down them, and as you can see, she's turning her head a little bit, and she was stretching with me there. So we're going to just stay here so she's willing to work with us. Works for me. It's my boyfriend, Tucker. I don't like this position. The back row is stuck. Interesting. Okay. So I'm going to just do some efferage on her neck, and I'm going to feel this stress point in the neck. Actually, when we were working on her head, Kiki! I can feel relaxed with Kiki. Good girl. I'm going to switch from this clip to this clip. She seems to like Tucker a little too much to do. Alright. Stand up. Put your legs back together, please. Thank you, ma'am. Stand up. Thank you. Alright, so I still feel the stress point, but I don't feel it as prominent as I did. I'm just going to get in here and do a little bit of friction. Loosen up a little more. Walk over here. You're going to be on video. So I like that. That feels looser. I'm going to do some compression here in the shoulder, though. I like how nice and loose it is. I'm still doing my assignment, but you can talk to me briefly. Can I help you?
Alright. Leave in 30 minutes.
It's fine.
Crab is in the freezer.
Great. Fine. Alright. Stress points here. she's like, let's see this. He's just so good. Alright, I'm gonna walk her up a step. I'm gonna, yes, I see you nice and loose and comfortable. Do some compression here. And now I'm gonna get to that point that she really wanted me to get to. Just doing compression. Up. Holding her tail up. Gosh, Tucker. So I'm holding my point on this one stress point she has here. She's got her tail up and out, stretching it against, stretching it out. Now she can keep her tail down, but still to the right. Alright, so I'm gonna do some muscle. And I like how much looser this is over here. So do some compression down this leg. And Penny's work with me blocks right now. Legs a little bit. I'm gonna check this Priscilla's again. Feels good, which is nice. Alright, so I like this. I'm gonna work with this front leg before I do some tail stretches with her. Let me see if she'll let me in. Gosh. Massage this knee a little bit. And that's what I do. Some tail stretches with her. So I'm going to come to the right. Put some pressure. And she's got her back up and she's actively stretching with me. Her breathing has changed. She's taking deeper breaths, which is nice. I'm going to release. Going to do tail stretch back. as reactive, and I really like that. I'm really happy with this. I'm happy that she's loose. This is, I don't even feel this anymore. It's fantastic. Alright. We have worked out everything. I'm going to check the range of motion on this right fetlock. This is actually much looser now that the shoulder is loose as well. And I'm just going to come down and massage this a little bit. There we go. That's improved. Awesome. So the next thing I'm going to do is my gait. I would check range of motion. Well, I can check range of motion in her hind end and see if she'll lift it up more for me. And if it's looser. See, now she's more willing to work with me, and I like that. And actually, yeah, she really does feel a lot more loose. Yeah, that's pretty fantastic. Try this side. I'm very reactive picking it up, but looser in general for the girl. That's nice. Alright, I'm going to do my reassess my gait and movement and how she is. But I really like good girl. And some afterthought releases here. To reassess the gait analysis. I like the range of motion. I like that she's more willing to work with me in the hind end. I like that she's looking to me now. She, oh, I'm the other horse behind you is yawning. And so anyway, I'm pretty happy with that, especially with her. So I will go check out my gait.
So reevaluating. I really like how relaxed she looks here and how the body is moving fluidly. And I still do see a little bit of residual in the hind end, but it is a massive improvement. I feel that this horse probably, well, definitely needs consistent body work due to her trauma, but I really like how the hind end is flowing much better, and she now has back movement where it was stiff before. So let's see how she moves in the trot. Much more fluid, and she didn't fall into the gait. I like that she's much more loose here. And like I said, I still do see some stiffness in the hind end, but she's tracking much better with more movement throughout her body and less stiffness in the back and the hindquarters. Watching her walk away, I'm looking to see if she's taking those inconsistent, really wide steps. And she's tracking a lot better, and one thing I noticed is that the stance in the hindquarters is wider than what she was choosing to do prior. I like that she has a much better swing throughout her entire body, and I can see her hind end and her back swinging, and her shoulders and everything looks like it's one piece instead of her moving in 3 different pieces. She went off into that trot really nicely. The movement is much more fluid in the hind end, much more free. I would like to see it freer in the future, but I feel that this is a significant improvement from what we started with. And like I said, Penny's a horse who is a work in progress and needs consistent body work. My suggestion would be weekly body work at this point, or even more frequent, just as she's continually getting her body looser from the previous conditions she was in, and as she's training pretty hard. I also suggest a chiropractor to come out and look at the hind end as well, just as another opinion in addition to body work. And that is what my findings are. I'm pretty happy with what we accomplished today, especially given her past.